Hi guys, my name is Danielle Jackson, and this is my Unit 4, Chapter 5 reflection. And the Unit 4, Chapter 5 talked about the Gestalt principles, which included proximity, similarity, continuity, and closure. And explaining the first one, the Gestalt law of proximity, it states that objects or shapes that are close to one another appear to form groups. Proximity refers to how close elements are to one another, and we often perceive the objects that are close together as belonging to the same group. Proximity also goes back to, and it talks about clumping, which is stated that proximity is used to avoid a cluttered layout when it comes to design, and it helps it to where it doesn't appear to be too busy. And the example that I use is like the example from our textbook, where the objects on the left can be interpreted as one large group of circles, while the one on the right appears to be three groups of circles. And the only thing the only difference in the groups is the one on the left than the one on the right is that the proximity of the lines, and our brains even interpret the image on the right as being three distinct groups, whereas on the image on the left, our brains are saying that that's just one group. Coming up next, we have similarity. Similarity can be used to tie together elements that might be right next to each other in a design. Similar elements are visually grouped regardless of their proximity to each other and can be grouped by color, shape, or size. And our textbooks use the phrase like goes with like in reference to explaining similarity. And the example that I use to explain similarity is like I use the Sun Microsystems icon, and it shows how one large icon is created from different objects, but as you can see, it appears to be one single unit because they are all similar in shape and they're grouped near one another. Next, we have continuity, and continuation occurs when the eye is compelled to move through one object and continue to another object. Continuation can be a valuable tool when it comes to when you're doing designs and you're trying to guide the viewer's eye in a certain direction. And with our eyes, we follow directions of a line. And through continuation, we are also able to follow the logical direction of visual forms. And the example that I used to explain continuation is that the Amazon logo, because as you can see, Amazon, we have the smiley face, which is the arrow, and it shows that the concept for Amazon is that Amazon has everything, so everything from A to Z, Amazon sells. Last but not least, we're going to talk about closure. And closure occurs when an element is incomplete or is not a fully enclosed image or in space. The principle of closure allows your eyes to follow something in the image that's like an imaginary dotted line to its end. Even if parts are missing, our minds will make every attempt to match it so that it looks like an object that we know, meaning that it's in a complete outline when it necessarily isn't. And the way that is it conveys the same message as a complete image as the one that has a partial outline. And closure is often used in logos and designs. And my examples that I used to explain that was an example that I saw on numerous websites when it came to speaking about closure. They used the World Wildlife Fund image, which is the one on with the panda. It appears to be an image of a panda, and it has some missing spaces on its back and on its head, but of course our eyes and our minds know that it looks like a panda. And what would otherwise be a group of irregular shapes, if they were all spread out, put together, forms a recognizable design. And there are also other logos, examples, which I use the USA Network logo and the Major League Baseball logo, which if you took all those logos apart, they would just look like irregular shapes, but putting them all together, they form that one design. And I thank you guys for watching, and I hope it helps.